from today, and we'll be continuing with that. As you already got your timetable, will be taking a subject of cyber security. Okay, so just give me a second. I'll just share the contents with you for the syllabus aspect, so that you have an overview of what will be the syllabus and the name of the book and uh, other aspects. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, so just okay, just let me know if the screen is visible to you. I have shared a PDF, which is okay. Fine, thank you. So this particular subject is the title of that subject is cyber security. As similar to our previous syllabuses, it is also having 5 units, and each unit is containing 20% weightage. Okay, the general discussion about what is going to happen in this is, first is introduction to cyber crimes. I am going to discuss a few things today. Then cyber offenses and how criminals actually plan them. Then cybercrime mobile and wireless devices. The unit 2 will consist of tools and methods used in cybercrime, okay, and phishing and identity theft. Then we have understanding computer forensics of how things are done. Then forensics of handheld devices, what type of carriers are available in cybersecurity. We all know that today cybersecurity has become one of the popular fields. Okay, and then cybersecurity as an organizational impact. What challenges does an organization have because of cybersecurity? So this is what we are going to have a look at. Okay, the book that you are going to follow is cyber. The name of the book is Cybersecurity by and Understanding Cyber Crimes, Computer Forensics, and Legal Perspective. If you are able to see, this is the book. It is a book from Wiley. Okay, uh, so this will be the book that will be following. The distribution of chapter distribution from this book is also given in this syllabus. Okay, so we'll having chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is not there, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12. These are the chapters that we'll be covering from this particular, almost chapters from this particular book. Okay, so this is what we will be having. uh, okay, just give me a moment, I'll stop this now. Fine. So let us come to a discussion in terms of what do you understand by this term cyber. First of all, what is your understanding of this word cyber? What does cyber stand for? Yes. What does this word cyber stands for? Dipanshu. Dipanshu. Yeah, related to computers. Okay. So cyber basically means related to computers. This is what Dipanshu is saying. Someone else? Okay. So we have few answers. Double is saying connection between devices. That is what you call as cyber. Okay. Someone else? Just a second. I'm allowing people to join. Okay, anything on internet. Okay. Sonia is saying related to computer networks. Okay, fine. Computer network space. Fine. So basically, when we talk about the word cyber, the cyber word does not have any significance as such initially. It has originated, majority of the English words that we are using today, they have originated from Greek words. Okay, the Greeks have the longest what you can say contribution in terms of developing the English language. Okay, so cyber as such is a word that has come from fiction. It was not a word that was specifically available in the English dictionary, but it is again related to what you today, in today's context, you what you can say uh, in today's context, you must have heard about the word Kubernetes. Yes, yeah, Kubernetes. You must have heard about this word Kubernetes today. Yeah. So Kubernetes is a container technology developed by Google, and it is available today in a very popular format. So the word cyber has actually originated from this word Kubernetes, which is a Greek word. Okay, and not only this, it is what it talks about is basically someone. The Kubernetes basically means someone who steers, someone who is basically a pilot, who is a driver in that particular sense. Okay, so the because today what has happened is uh, this the cyber term was actually coined in late 1940s, actually when internet was not there. Okay, to a larger extent, but as the pilot, see why we are saying the pilot is because when we talk about the pilot, if I'm sitting in the plane, yes, do I bother whether the pilot is actually driving or whether it is in autopilot mode? I think everybody knows that plane works in an autopilot mode. Yeah, long distance planes definitely works on an autopilot mode. Do you know that? Yes or no? Does Yeah. So what does that autopilot mode mean? It is possible that both the pilot and the co-pilot at a particular moment might be asleep, and still we are on the course. Okay, so it is controlled by an unknown force, according to a layman, but according to a computer science students, it is controlled by software. It is controlled by communication. It is controlled by hardware. Yeah, all these things do come into picture. So this word cyber is basically origination, as I mentioned, from the word Kubernetes, and the Kubernetes has a meaning. The word has a meaning which associates it with someone who drives, someone who steers, someone who leads in terms of being a pilot. Okay, now today, in today's context, it is becoming cyber, the term cyber has become relevant to a virtual world that we are living into. Okay, when I say virtual world, we are talking about a world of digits, a digital world that we are into. Okay, and this is what we are talking about in terms of the context of cyber. So today when we say cyber, we talk about something that is digital, something that is connected to a network, something that is that can be transferred from one place to another. Okay, that is what we mean by the term cyber today. Okay, any doubts in this statement? Any doubts in the statement? Please say yes or no. Okay, fine. Yeah, draw digitally in terms of computer or network. You may consider it that way, Nishta. Fine. So now comes the second word, that is security. Okay. cyber security is only one aspect of security. Okay, I'm saying only one aspect of security. Before discussing security, the question should be asked is, why do I need to secure something? Okay, what is the need of securing something? So, what is your purpose of saying what is the need of securing something? Why do you want to secure something? And what type of things can you secure? Forget about hardware and software as of now. Okay, do you secure a pen? Do you secure, is this pen, if it is visible to you properly, does it have a security? No. Nishta is saying no. Personal things and details to be secured, yes. Okay, Jay is saying yes, it is having security, and he's saying the cap is the security. This cap is the security. Security for what? Jay, you are very correct. This cap is actually providing a security, a kind of security. But security for what? What security does this cap provide? Okay, ink spread. That is what Utsav is saying. Very correct. Okay, from leaking. So pen should not leak. Okay, extra flow of ink, sharp pen, and safety purpose. Yes, Bari, what you're saying is correct. Safety purpose, but what kind of security? What kind of safety? Suppose this pen falls down. What is going to happen? It falls down like this with the nib pointed to the ground. What is going to happen? Okay, so yes, so we have an option of protecting the nib of this particular pen. So this pen is basically consisting of multiple things, isn't it? This pen is not consisting of only a single item. This pen is a atomic unit, yes, but then this pen consists of multiple things. Yeah, if I talk about this pencil, okay, if I talk about this pencil, then the protection of the point failing is not there because there is no cap on it. Yes, but if I get a pencil with a cap, then there's that protection is there, isn't it? Understanding my point? Okay. So now comes the question here, that when we say security, what do we intend to do, or what are we trying to secure? So based on the answer that we give, that I am trying to secure X thing or I am trying to secure Y thing, the mechanisms used for security are going to vary, and the terms that we use with respect to that security is again going to vary. Is my statement clear? Yes or no? Okay, so let me just try to explain that with a small sharing of PPT with you. I'm not I'm sharing a blank slide with you as of now, so I'll be drawing something on it, so give me a moment. Just let me know if the screen is visible. Yeah, is the blank screen visible? Is the blank screen visible to all? Okay, fine. So now, if I talk from a point of view of a computer, fine. If I talk from the point of view of a computer science student, then if you look at, I am drawing something for you. Okay, what I am having is uh, this may be considered as my mobile. This may be considered as my computer. You may laptop or computer, whatever you want. I'm just drawing. This is nothing but my access point, which I might connect this mobile with my this thing. Uh, this ISP is this, because this is internet connection. I'll be connected with maybe something that I would call as routers. Okay, uh, this routers or that ISP will be having a bigger entity. Then I might be getting some data from some place over here, which I am calling as servers. Okay, so this is in general our model that we call as client and a server model. Yeah, is this correct? Yes or no? Okay. So now in this particular case, if we look from an angle of what do we have here, so this is a device which contains a hardware. It also contains a software. Same way, this is also access point also is a device which contains a hardware. It also contains a software. Same way, this router also is a device which is consisting of hardware as well as a software, and same statement is true over here. Yes. Yes or no? Okay. So now when I say hardware, I'm talking about physical aspect. When I say software, I'm talking about digital contents. Okay, software can be an operating system, software can be my data, software can be my application, software can be maybe a chat that I have written. Okay, anything can be considered in terms of software. Okay, now the question comes, now the question really comes is, what do I want to secure? Okay, so if I talk about securing maybe a mobile device in terms of hardware, okay, then if I take a look at this particular mobile, I have done, what I've done is I have used a case on top of this. Okay, so I applied a security mechanism over here just to make sure that my mobile, when it falls or when it is laid somewhere, does not get scratches. Fine. Then on top of this glass, you use toughened glass, isn't it? You add a toughened glass onto it. Yes, I think everybody must have done this activities. Yes, majority of you. Yeah. What is the idea behind that toughened glass? This glass is, if I say this is a Corona glass, it is not going to break. So why do I additionally add that toughened glass? To make sure that even if there is a fall, the actual screen does not get damaged. Yes. Yes or no? Yeah. So now this is one way of putting security. What we're talking about is, now I'm putting a word which is a physical security. Okay. Now physical security is again applicable to laptop. I'll carry it in a bag properly. That's a physical security for my laptop. Maybe I'll use a layer of cloth on top of my keypad to secure it from dust entering into that. Okay. Yes. Yes. Same thing is going to happen with respect to my machines in the server. I'll put it in a room, so that room becomes the security aspect, protecting the physical entities. Okay. So security is always required for different reasons. So first I said is a physical security. Physical security basically means securing something which is visible to you. Okay, devices are actually visible to you. Routers, access point, mobile phones, clients, servers, these are visible to you. When I say visible to you, it might be not visible, say server may not be visible to the client, but the server is visible to the service provider. जिसका service provider जिसका है वो चीज उसको तो पता होगा ना मैंने कहाँ रखा है मशीन क्या है उसके अंदर content and so on. Yeah, so that is one aspect. Now comes, what does this devices hold? This devices hold a software, as I already mentioned, and I should not put data into a category of software. So I should keep data as a separate entity. So I am keeping data as a separate entity. So what I will now say is that this particular client any clients as such will be having now three things, three very critical things. One is hardware, second is software, and third is data. Okay, do you agree? Do you agree with this thing that there will be this at least three things? Class, if you agree, please say yes. If you don't agree, say no. But make it fast. Okay, fine. Very good. Thank you. So two people are agreeing. Mansi and Suhani is agreeing. So now the security, if I talk about securing everything on this machine, or maybe on this machine, or maybe on this machine, or maybe on this router, or maybe on this router, what I am talking about is a host security. Now I am giving you another word. Okay, I am saying first I said physical security. Yes. Now I am saying host security. Is it okay? Host can be anything. Host can be the device, all the any of these devices that you are going to use. Okay, maybe a mobile phone, maybe a pen drive, maybe a laptop, maybe a hard disk that you are using, and so on. Is this fine? And within host, I can again have either a physical security or maybe a security for digital contents. As I mentioned, digital contents. When I say digital contents, I'm talking about software and data. Okay, fine. If I try to secure this entire perimeter, now I'm saying entire perimeter. This entire perimeter is what now for us? In technical terms, what we will call it? What will you call this entire perimeter? Client side. Okay, Nishta is saying it is client side. Yeah, but at client side, what do we have? What can I see? Because if you see, I have used a mobile device, I've used an access point, and I've used a laptop, and I am showing you connectivity between them. So if any two devices are connected, what do we create? What do we create? Network, definitely, very correct. So we create a network. Okay, we are trying to create a network. So now, if I look at this network, this is a local area network, LAN. Yeah, but if I increase that particular, or it can be considered as PAN, whatever, but both of them are local, isn't it? If I increase this ratio, okay, I'm talking about a WAN or a global area network. Okay. So once I talk about host security, next comes the network security. Is this understood? Okay. So only Nishita. Nishta. What about others? Okay, Dhaval. Okay, fine. Very good. Okay. In both these cases, again, as I mentioned, with respect to host, we have a physical security for a host. Similarly, we'll have physical security for network. And then we'll have to think about security with respect to softwares and with respect to data in both these cases. Okay. If you look from the complexity point of view, I think this figure has become complicated. I'm cleaning this just to simplify it. Okay. If I'm having maybe four machines connected in a network, four, five, whatever, or 100 machines connected in a network, and if I'm having only one network or only one device, okay, the security implemented over here will be less complex as compared to the security implemented here. I'm saying security, but in terms of security mechanisms, we'll discuss about them later on. Security mechanisms. Do you agree? Yes. Why is it so? Mansi and Dhaval? Why do you think it will be, this will be less complex and this will be more complex? I am not saying this is not complex at all, okay? But why do you think this will be the scenario? Okay, if one breach, all are not secured. So that is the case of network, isn't it, Dhaval? Dhaval, I think this is, you are answering in terms of the network part, yes? Yes, network aspect only. So if in this case, if one entity gets breached, the entire network is susceptible, isn't it? In this case, only one device. So security mechanisms that I need to have here should make sure that I'm securing each and every host. Not only that, I should secure the communication that happens between these hosts. Okay, not only that, I should secure the hardware as well as software as well as the data aspects within this host. Okay, so the propensity of attack on this will create a huge loss as compared to this. I'm saying. Okay, I'm saying as compared to this, not necessary it will always be. Okay. In general, when now if I create a scenario which is like this, I'm having network 1 which is connected to network 2 using an intermediate device. Okay. Using an intermediate device to some another network. Okay, and using some another device to some another network. This is my network 1, this is my network 2, this is my network 3 and 4, and so I'll be having n network n. Okay, fine. The propensity of any attack on this, because they are connected, increases to a larger extent, and this entire phenomenon for us, okay, I'm saying this entire phenomenon is what we called as for us a cyber world, a world which is driven by network, okay, is driven by digital contents. I'm using the word driven by, okay, I'm using the word driven by again, is driven by digital contents, is driven by networks, and today in context network of networks. So when we try to protect anything on this, okay, either a physical entity or a software entity or a data entity, we call this term as cyber security. Okay, any doubts in this? Okay, so now the scenario here is that in majority of the times when we say cyber security, okay, most of the books, most of the entities, they will talk about this to a larger extent, that is software and data. Okay, and with respect to this they will talk in terms of access mechanisms. Okay, say for example, if someone gets hold of my mobile phone, if I have password protected it, okay, in that particular case, unless and until he has this password, he will not be able to open. But that is not difficult. Again, getting a password is not difficult aspect. Okay, or maybe getting a fingerprint is not a difficult. Yeah, yes or no? See, I'll give you a particular simple case. Okay, uh, you are seeing an accident. Okay, I'm talking about real life cases. You just try to understand what I'm talking about. You see a real life accident happening. You see the person who has met with an accident seriously injured. Okay, and along with him, his phone is lying over there. What will be the first instance that you are going to do? Maybe dial 108 from your phone, Yeah, SOS, definitely. Utsav. So maybe dial 108 from your phone. Yeah, that something like this has happened on this particular thing. And what will be the next instant that you will be trying to follow? If you are a good Samaritan, what will you do? Maybe if the phone is there, pick up the phone and try to see whether it is open or not. Calling his last dial contact. Ruma, very correct. But then to call that last dial contact, I'll have to access the software part, isn't it? Hardware is already accessible to me. हार्डवेयर तो मुझे मिल गया, डिवाइस मुझे मिल गया, सो हार्डवेयर मुझे मिल गया, लेकिन टू कॉल दैट लास्ट डायल नंबर और वट एवर नंबर इज देयर ओके इन द recent history, I need to get inside this phone, and for that I'll need a password. Yeah, if it is password protected, or maybe if it is having a biometrics. Yeah, now there could be two cases. The person who is injured is capable of talking, so he can do that on behalf of you. But what if he is not capable of talking? What if he is lying unconscious? In that case, you will have to do it. Yeah. Yeah, Ruma, very correct. So that is an alternate. We see what Ruma is saying, that nowadays we have emergency contacts that can be accessed without unlocking the phone. Yes, very correct. But then how many people do have that? Or how many people actually have enabled them? Okay, these are all settings that needs to be enabled. Okay, maybe one to one you can the providers numbers you can enable. Yeah. Yes, ID card double, very correct. That option is also available to you if that if you are getting an ID card of that person and you can call. I am talking about scenarios where all these things are missing. Okay, हम वर्स्ट केस की बात कर रहे हैं कि जहाँ पे हमारे पास उस बंदे के फोन और उस बंदे के अलावा कुछ नहीं है. अगर हमारे पास बाकी सब चीजें मिल जाती हैं, उसका आईडी कार्ड मिल जाता है, तो डेफिनेटली वी कैन कॉल हिज ऑफिस एंड वी कैन ट्राई टू गेट होल्ड ऑफ द आइडेंटिटी एंड सो ऑन. आइडेंटिटी कार्ड मिल जाते हैं तो वी कैन डू दैट, बट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट सिनेरियोज व्हिच आर एक्सट्रीम्स. ओके, and that is where security becomes very very necessary. Now if I want to access his phone, as I mentioned, I'll have to do trial and error, isn't it? Maybe अगर उसका फिंगरप्रिंट चलता हो तो शायद वो भले अनकॉन्शियस है, लेकिन मैं उसका फिंगर ट्राई कर सकता हूँ कि उसको अटैच करूँ. मे बी हिज फेस रिकग्निशन अगर है तो उसका मैं फेस रिकग्निशन ट्राई करने की कोशिश करूँ. इफ एवरीथिंग इज इंटैक्ट एंड विद गॉड्स विलिंग वी आर एबल टू डू दैट. ओके, so now if you see what we are trying to do is, when we say physical aspect, majority of the time is, when we talk about physical security, we just try to see whether this physical access I can get into the device or not. Get holding of the device, one part, but getting into the device so that I can access either of them, software or data. Okay, that is what the entire cybersecurity part is basically concerned with. Okay. Yeah. Now if I look from an angle of complexity, when I talk about one network, it is a bit complex. When I talk about two networks, it becomes a bit more complex. But when I talk about the entire cyber world, it becomes a hell lot of a complex entity. Yeah, it becomes very much complex, because you never know from where the request has come, from which provider the request has come, from which location the request has come, from which device the request has come, who is actually interacting with us, and so on and on. If you have gone through this pandemic period, and if you have looked at newspapers, okay, every day there is one case which says that there was a fraud. And when I say fraud, I'm talking about scams. Okay, scam for XYZ, scam for taking money from you, okay, scam for giving you money, and so on. Yeah. And why has this become very much prevalent today is because this cyber world has something which you call as anonymous. Okay, although it is nothing, there is nothing called anonymous, but then at the first hand it has something that you call as anonymous. Yeah. Why I am saying anonymity? Why I am using this word anonymous? What is the guarantee as of now to make sure? I'm talking about something which is again part of cybersecurity, which I'll talk about. You have heard about it. I have talked in cyber or in security aspect. There are three important words. One is C, another one is I, and third one is A. I think you know the full forms. I'm not going into part of this. But let me talk about, I'm not talking about this one first. I'm talking about this one. Integrity part. Okay. This is confidentiality, this is integrity, and this is availability. Okay. Yeah, hackers are unknown. Very correct. Okay. Now, first and foremost, we need to know two things about what you said, Nishta. We need to understand there are two terms. One is called hacker, and actually there is another term which is called cracker. Okay. These are considered to be criminals, while these are considered to be consultants. Okay. So when I say consultant, I'm talking about there is a new term that has come into market. I always debate on that, and that is what you call as ethical hacking. Okay. That the word hack itself is illegal. So if hack is illegal, how can it be ethical? But then we don't have to debate on that. Okay. But that is why I am saying these people are called today consultants. While on the other hand, these people are criminals. Okay. Fine. Okay. So now let me take a simple example for you to understand this particular aspect with respect to today's session. Okay. Can I have an integrity of this session with respect to knowing that whether Dhaval Saxena 45 or 45 underscore Dhaval Saxena is actually 45 underscore Dhaval Saxena, or maybe A13 Sohel is actually A13 Sohel? With this mode, as of now that we are able to see, can we give a statement that there is an integrity of what I asked, or whether A65 Suhani is Suhani or not? Okay, can you give an integrity that Harshal Arolkar is taking this session? Yes. Why? How everybody is saying yes? Okay, the video. Fine, perfect. So, as soon as I disable my video, the integrity part gets lost. Yes? Why it gets lost? Because then you don't know who is behind this voice. It might be someone who is manipulating my voice and taking the session for you. But as soon as I am able to give you the video, as soon as you are able to see the gestures, okay, now this also could be recorded. Yeah, there's a possibility. But at this juncture, if I want to prove that okay, the session is being the Harshal Arokar is only taking the session, that integrity level is there. Yeah. So enabling the video gives me integrity, but on the same side, if I ask about the students, can I get that integrity? The answer would be no. I will not be able to get that integrity. Yeah. I don't know whether Suhani is listening to my session or someone else is listening to my session based on only just the name that is visible to me in terms of participant. Yeah. So this is one particular part. We'll be looking into this part in detail again, integrity. Okay. Now, when I say integrity, ये जो मैंने example दिया वो हम cyber security में apply कर सकते हैं. But in terms of integrity, when we say, as I mentioned, most of the time we have to talk about software and we have to talk about data. Okay, integrity of software and integrity of data. Not only integrity of software, integrity of data, I also have to talk about integrity of the device. Okay. And why do I say that integrity of the device? If I am capable of changing a router, I have a control of that router. Yeah. So if someone, instead of having a proper machine, keeps a machine in between which does something in terms of mischief, then that's again issue in terms of integrity of the device. Yes. Yes or no? समझ में आई बात मैंने क्या बोली अभी? Yeah, without device, it could not be possible to access software and data. Fine, we don't deny on that particular aspect. But then what I'm talking about, Nishta, is that this scenario of the networks that we have drawn, okay, this scenario is not under our control, isn't it? Whatever machines are part of this particular network, they are not under my control. My control is only to the device that I'm using, or maybe the set of devices that I might be using. What if someone deliberately replaces this machine over here and he or she tries to capture the communication that is happening through this particular device? Okay, so in that particular case, nobody will be able to clearly give a statement that anything that is happening through this particular router is integrated or is having integrity. Yes. And in today's context, I don't have to be near the device to access the data. Do you agree, Nishta? As I already mentioned, if I want to access the data of a server which is in US, I don't have to be in US. I don't have to be in the vicinity of the US. Yes, I can be sitting in India, maybe in a small room in a small place of a small village, and still I'll be able to access data from here. Okay. Now I'm saying data. I will not be able to steal this machine, but I might be able to manipulate or steal the contents of this machine, which are software or which are data related. Okay, so this is one part. Now second part, I'm just talking about it in a very simple manner. Okay, we'll be going into details of integrity, we'll be going into details of confidentiality, will be details of availability also later on. Okay, as we start with the session in the next tomorrow's session. Okay, then comes this term availability. Now, why availability is a very critical. This is basically called as triad. Okay, security triad. Triad means triangle. So we can put it in this particular manner. Generally ऐसे रखते हैं उसको C, I and A इस तरह से रखते हैं. But there is no contextual entity. I can modify this C, I and A over here also. Okay, availability is basically very important here, because if I am sitting here at this particular place and my resource is coming from this particular place, there should not be a blockage in between. Okay, blockage due to any reason. It may be internet connectivity loss, it may be data connectivity loss, it may be server issues or anything. Okay, so availability has become very important in today's context. We'll be looking into this particular context again. Okay, now let me take what has happened in terms of our availability aspect in our classes in the previous semester. Okay, when we are taking sessions, at times you people say, "Sir, आपका voice clear नहीं आ रहा है." Yeah, we are not able to hear you. Yes or no? So if at that particular juncture the service is going on, yeah, but to some of you the service is becoming unavailable. Do you agree? I'm saying some of you. I've used some of you. Majority of you नहीं, some of you. क्योंकि उस समय कभी कितनी बार ऐसा हुआ है कि two people have said that sir we are not able to hear your voice, but other 40 have said that okay our everything is clear. Yeah. So question is availability may have an issue, but from which angle we don't know, whether it is from my side, the provider side, or whether it is from the receiver side. So that part has to be again identified. So that is another aspect which is very very important. Okay. Now in this particular case, the example that I am taking of our session, availability does not become that much critical. Okay, I'm saying it does not become that much critical. But if I modify this session to maybe an examination or maybe a form that you are filling which has a deadline, then it becomes very critical. Yeah. Yes. And finally, the last, which actually is the first part which people say, confidentiality. We are trying up to talk about two confidentialities in general. One is confidentiality of data, and one is confidentiality of communication. Okay, so we will be seeing what mechanisms you know about them, so we don't have to worry about it, but in general we'll be looking into them. Okay, when I am talking about confidentiality of data, I am talking about confidentiality of data lying on a single machine. Okay, when I say confidentiality of communication, I'm talking about the data when it is traveling from one place to another. Okay, if you look at your WhatsApp contents today, you get a message which says this WhatsApp chat is end-to-end encrypted. Yeah, you get that message, end-to-end encrypted. Yeah, so that encryption is the simplest technique that we generally use for providing confidentiality. We will be going into details of this. Okay, so in tomorrow's session we'll start with the actual chapter number 1, which is the aspect of what is basically a cyber crime. Fine. So just I wanted to give you an overview of the term cyber and the term security. From tomorrow onwards we'll start with the chapter number 1 of the syllabus. I'll share the syllabus with you on Moodle. I'll ask Dinesh sir to activate the Moodle right now today, and from tomorrow you will be able to access it. Okay. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay. Thank you, Dipanshu. No questions. Thank you, Nishta. Fine. Then you may leave for today's session. Tomorrow onwards, we'll start with the chapter. I'll give you the presentations. In case due to some reasons you people are not coming to college for attending offline sessions, please convey it to Snehal madam. Okay, so that we can accordingly work, because otherwise I wasted my 10 minutes, went up and there was nobody. Hmm? Okay, thank you very much. You may leave now.